Part 35. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 343. 341. He Tian was very anxious, worried that her mother would see the Snake King. "Mom, I'll fold the quilt myself." "You can go out first," He Tian said quickly. "Mom, I want to eat red rabbit meat for lunch." "You can cook it for me." "Okay, I'll get ready right now." Wang Shuping smiled. "Hurry up and fold the quilt and go out for a walk when studying. You should also balance work and rest." "I know, Mom," He Tian agreed, feeling slightly relieved when her mother left. After her mother went out, He Tian closed the door, bolted it, walked to the window, lifted the quilt, and carefully shouted, "Snake King, Snake King." The Snake King heard He Tian's voice and wanted to pretend to be dead. Seeing that the Snake King was silent, He Tian picked up the quilt directly. The Snake King's true body was nowhere to be seen. "Snake King, why are you ignoring me? By the way, when I saw the fat baby just now, it was definitely not because of my eyesight. Do you want to give me an explanation?" He Tian said seriously, his eyes full of teasing. "The Snake King is so childish because it is just a little baby, not an adult. No wonder." "Don't laugh," the Snake King said angrily. "I started practicing from scratch, and my true body and human form will continue to increase and grow as I practice. This is not my true face. When I pass the six heavens mystery ray, just grow up." "Haha," He Tian finally couldn't help it anymore, it was so funny. "Don't laugh, you've had enough." The Snake King became angry and cast a spell to make He Tian unable to move. In this way, He Tian felt even more uncomfortable. After a while, He Tian's eyes showed a look of begging for mercy, and then the Snake King released the restraint on He Tian. "Okay, I'm not laughing anymore." He Tian pursed her lips and calmed down her emotions. "Is it because of this that you have been hiding in the barrier space recently?" "Yeah," the Snake King reluctantly nodded. After hearing this, He Tian nodded seriously and said, "Well, as I guessed before, you are a male." The Snake King was stunned for a moment, a little embarrassed. He must have looked at him when he was in his human form. No. Now that He Tian knows the secret, he will definitely see his human form often in the future. If that's the case, what's the big deal if he wears a big red belly band all day long without covering his buttocks? "You make me clothes," the Snake King demanded. "Although those clothes don't look good, they are better than having a bare butt." "It would be fine if it was a child, but it's not. It doesn't want to walk around in broad daylight." He Tian heard the Snake King's awkward request and knew that the Snake King was shy, so she smiled and said, "Okay, but you'd better turn into a human being now so that I can measure you and make clothes. Not to mention, compared to the slender snake shape, He Tian still likes the human form of the Snake King. A chubby boy with sky-high braids, very cute. She will give birth to a big fat boy like this in the future." "No, you can do whatever you want." The Snake King immediately saw through He Tian's trick and entered the enchantment space after saying that. Its heart is very confused. It wants to be quiet. "Ha ha ha." He Tian laughed again, tears streaming down her face. The joy brought by the Snake King diluted the sadness when Huo Yingzhe left. "Don't laugh," the Snake King said angrily. "If you laugh again, I will. However, the Snake King entered the barrier and couldn't control He Tian. He could only get angry and cast two shields. Out of sight, out of mind. If the ears are not listening, the mind is not confused. Seeing her daughter laughing so hard that tears flowed out, Wang Shuping was surprised and asked hurriedly, "Tian, what's wrong? Why are you crying with laughter?" He Tian wiped her tears and found an excuse and said, "It's okay. I found a good way to study. It's very efficient and I feel happy." After hearing her daughter's explanation, Wang Shuping felt relieved and said, "Take your time, you are so smart, You will definitely learn well. People feel refreshed when happy events happen, and Grandma Chi-san's face is full of spring breeze every day. Hee-jingyu arrived home at noon the next day and helped the villagers buy some daily necessities with Secretary Chi. Life in Kijia village is peaceful and fulfilling. In the blink of an eye, the first month is out, spring is here, and the weather is much warmer. On February 2nd, the dragon raises its head. Grandma Chi-san soaked the soybeans early and made crispy and delicious fried soybeans. Some are sweet, some are salty, some are fragrant, crispy, and especially delicious. At night, He Tian took the Snake King to the cave in the back mountain. When the Snake King came out of the barrier again, he put on the small pants and jacket made by He Tian. In the past, the Snake King jumped directly into the hot spring, but now he is wearing clothes. The Snake King has to take off his clothes to prevent them from getting wet. He Tian, this stingy guy, made clothes for it? Take your back. Don't look. When the Snake King was about to take off his clothes, He Tian kept staring at it. He Tian curled her lips and said, "Huh. It's not like I haven't seen it before." You. The Snake King almost lost his temper because he was not as knowledgeable as a woman. Long hair, short knowledge. The Snake King took off his clothes and jumped into the water with a pop sound. Hearing the sound, He Tian turned around. He Tian was bored and lay on the big rock with his left foot exposed. After a while, the Snake King had enough fun and would come to suck the holy blood. Unknowingly, He Tian fell asleep. When He Tian opened her eyes, she was awakened by the rumbling thunder. Rumble, rumble. There were bursts of thunder, coming from far away. Could it be that the Snake King is going through another thunder tribulation? He Tian was so nervous that she didn't dare to say anything. She put her hands together and began to burn incense and hold the Buddha's feet, praying to all the gods and Buddhas to protect the Snake King. But after a while, after the thunder, it started to rain. In the night, it was pitch black. He Tian could only faintly see the glittering golden light, like a Snake King playing in the rain. As long as he wasn't struck by lightning, He Tian relaxed and stared at the sky, waiting for the Snake King to come back. After an unknown amount of time, the rain stopped outside, and the Snake King came back like a child who had had enough water. "Snake King, can you explain to me what's going on?" He Tian was puzzled and urgently needed the Snake King's explanation. Today, Snake King received a lot of spiritual energy from heaven and earth, and he was in a good mood. He said, "Today is the day when the dragon raises its head. There will be a lot of spiritual energy on this day, which will help my cultivation." "I see. I thought you were going through the tribulation." He Tian smiled. "You have just passed through the tribulation not long ago. It will be very dangerous if you go through the tribulation again, so I am very worried about you." Hearing this, the Snake King felt very happy. "Yes, it's not that quick to overcome the tribulation." The Snake King nodded. "Okay, I'm going into practice. You should go home quickly." Yeah, He Tian went down the mountain, and the Snake King gave her a walking barrier, so she didn't have to worry about getting mud on her feet. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 344. 342. As the Snake King's abilities increased, He Tian took a lot of the spotlight. When he got home, He Tian had a good sleep and was very energetic. A year's plan starts with spring, a day's plan starts with morning. Village Chief Chi began to arrange people to work one after another, cleaning the grass in the wheat field and readying the manure to make fertilizer. He Tian went to work and study in the livestock team, and lived a fulfilling and meaningful life. In the blink of an eye, it is March in spring, the trees on the mountain have sprouted young leaves, and the grass has grown to a height of more than 10 centimeters. Spring comes earlier than in previous years. 100 peach trees in the peach orchard are full of flowers. The breeze blows, and the fragrance of peach blossoms comes. Wang Shuping brought a mat from home and caught the falling peach blossoms. These peach blossoms can be made into peach blossom wine, peach blossom snacks, or peach blossom scented sachets to put in the house, which is fragrant. Lao He, have you noticed that the peach trees bloom earlier this year? Wang Shuping walked around the peach orchard and observed the flowering status of the peach trees. He Jingyu smiled and said, I saw it, but I checked and the peach tree is in good condition. It should be fine. You can see that the branches, leaves, and flowers are all better than when they were in Nanjing. Well, it seems we have chosen the right place. Wang Shuping smiled, squinting her eyes and looking up at the peach trees. In the peach blossom forest, under the peach blossom trees, the petals were flying, and the soft sunlight fell on Wang Shuping's face. He Jingyu accidentally saw his wife's gentleness and beauty. He hadn't taken a good look at her for a long time. There are wrinkles at the corners of his wife's eyes, and her skin is not as clear as before, but her gentle temperament accumulated over time attracts him even more. He Jingyu had mud on his hands, so he could only lean forward and kiss his wife's left cheek. Ah, Wang Shuping was stunned and couldn't help but blush. The peach blossoms on the human face complement each other. The two people, who had not seen each other for a long time, were walking in the beautiful peach blossom forest, talking softly and deeply in love. At noon, when He Tian went home for dinner, she saw her parents who were full of friendship. Seeing his loving parents, He Tian thought of Huo Yingzhi in the distance. Grandma Chi-san is always in good condition, she can be said to be radiant. Her waiting before was a hopeless wait. The reason why she persists is because of her nostalgia for the past memories, and also because of her strength. Now her wait has come to fruition. There is no burden in her heart, and the strong Grandma Chi-san is full of vitality like a dead tree blooming with spring. He Tian's learning has progressed rapidly, her vocabulary has reached 3,000, and she can already recite those few books. With Professor Wang around, they conversed in English. If something was wrong, Professor Wang reminded him on the spot, and He Tian corrected it immediately. Even now that he has gone to Country M, He Tian can already communicate with the people of Country M himself. On April 18th of the Gregorian calendar, 3 people came to Grandma Chi-san's house. One of them is Huo Yingjun. Although Huo Yingjun had seen He Tian's photos and knew that she was beautiful, he was quite surprised when he saw her in person. Hello, I am Huo Yingjun, Huo Yingzhi's cousin. Huo Yingjun introduced himself, you are Uncle He and Aunt Wang. Huo Yingjun and Huo Yingzhi are somewhat similar, and Huo Yingjun took out a photo of him and Huo Yingzhi, which can prove that what he said is true. He Jingyu smiled and said, yes, my name is He Jingyu. What are you doing here? Although Huo Yingzhi had briefly talked to them during the Chinese New Year, it was not official after all, and He Jingyu did not point it out. It's something related to Grandma Chi. Let's talk about it in the house, Huo Yingjun said. There are many people outside and it is easy for the news to leak out. Okay, sit in the room, He Jingyu said with a smile. When Grandma Chi-san saw this, she guessed that she wanted to take her to meet her son, with a smile on her face. Grandma Chi-san was very happy to know that her son was alive and well. Now that I can go see my son, I will die without regrets. Huo Yingjun told Grandma Chi-san the purpose of this trip and clicked on the purpose of this trip. Okay, I will cooperate with your work, Grandma Chi-san said, I am in good health, I can leave anytime. We need to take a train to Guangzhou first, and then ferry to Port H, where there is a direct flight to Country M. Huo Yingjun said, it's very hard on the road, so we'd better go to the hospital for a comprehensive examination first. Grandma Chi-san knows that she is in good health, but the fastest means of transportation in her life is the train, and she has never flown by plane. It's okay to go to the hospital for a checkup. Okay, just follow what you said, Grandma Chi-san said, I am an old woman, and I still have small feet. I want to take my goddaughter with me, and I can have someone to look after me on the way. Huo Yingjun looked at He Tian, nodded, and said, "Okay. Grandma Chi, when can we set off?" "I've already made preparations here, whatever you want," Grandma Chi-san said, feeling a little excited. "I'm sorry, time is a bit tight. We need to rest here for one night and set off early tomorrow morning," Huo Yingjun said. "If Grandma Chi-san's health is not good, she will need to recuperate for a while." "Okay," Grandma Chi-san agreed. Huo Yingjun stayed at Grandma Chi-san's house that night. Huo Yingjun knew that Old Man Chi was in Kijia village, so he took advantage of the night to visit Old Man Chi. Old Man Chi looked at Huo Yingjun, then thought about Huo Yingja, and couldn't help but feel envious. Brother Huo not only has two good sons, but also two good grandsons. This time, we must ensure the safety of our third brother, sister, and sweet girl on the road. Old Man Chi confessed that if possible, he would like to follow. But his identity is very sensitive. Even if the people here allow him to go, the people of Country M will not dare to let him enter Country M. "I know, Grandpa Chi," Huo Yingjun said. "Mr. Chi also asked me to say hello to you and thank you for taking care of his mother. We're all one family, it's nothing," Old Man Chi said. There were more secrets involved, so he couldn't ask more questions. However, with the current situation, if we can break the ice with the United States, we must be safe. In the evening, He Tian packed her luggage, and He Tian brought a lot of clothes. Huo Yingjun saw this and said with a smile, "Tian, don't bring too many clothes. When we transfer at Port H, we will buy some clothes for you and Grandma Chi there." He Tian thought for a while, "That's fine, their clothes are a bit rustic," and said with a smile, "Listening to what you said, I realized that our clothes are very different from those in Country M, and they are really not suitable to bring." "Then please, handsome brother." Huo Yingjun smiled and said, "You're welcome. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 345. 343. Thinking back to the thick letter he received from his second brother, there were nearly 10 design drawings inside, 6 of which were for girls, 4 for old ladies, and even the sizes. If the mainland wants to make such clothes, it's okay, but it will definitely attract some people's attention, which is not worth it. Huo Yingjun directly sent the clothes to H-Port and asked the tailors there to make them. When they arrive in Hong Kong, just try them on to see if they are suitable. If they are not suitable, just modify them. Some of Chi-san's clothes were taken out, but she had to take the 2 cheongsams made of fabric that He Tian bought for her. Those were the cheongsams made by Chi-san's grandmother herself, which fit her very well. She could wear them when the weather got warmer. Of course, there were also the embroidered shoes made by Chi-san's grandmother for herself. Unless they were custom made, Chi-san's grandmother couldn't buy suitable shoes for her small feet. After getting everything ready, He Tian took Chi-san's grandmother to bid farewell to her parents and left Kijia village under the cover of night. He Tian's gift included her usual clothes and an English dictionary. If she encountered something she didn't know or couldn't understand, she could look it up in the dictionary. Village Chief Chi's ox cart came in handy again this time. When they reached a relatively flat road, they could see Huo Yingjun's car. Village Chief Chi took out a roll of handkerchief from his bag and said, "Aunt San, this is a little gift from me. Take this money with you and buy something." Grandma San Chi refused and said, "Dazu, I know this is a gift from you. All the money along the way is public money, so you can't use your own money." Grandma San Chi's words were quite direct, and He Tian wanted to laugh. "Village Chief Chi, we don't need this money. RMB is not used abroad," He Tian explained. "Village Chief Chi, you should take it back." "Yes, Village Chief Chi slapped his head and remembered that this money could only be used in China. Huo Yingjun reminded, Village Chief Chi, this is a secret, please don't tell anyone. Yes, yes, I know. Please take care of the old and the young along the way. Village Chief Chi nodded repeatedly, not worried. He had already asked his second uncle. The second uncle said it was okay and he would come back safely. I will, Huo Yingjun promised. After getting on the car, Village Chief Chi watched the two cars leave, and then drove the ox cart back. Village Chief Chi wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. It was not easy for Aunt San to finally wait for Brother Shuliang to come back. When he saw Brother Shuliang, he would ask him why there was no news for so many years. The mountain road was not easy to walk, and the speed of the car was not very fast. In order to accommodate Grandma Chi-san, the speed was even slower. Finally, before 3 o'clock in the night, they arrived in Hawaii City. After resting for a few hours, Huo Yingja secretly arranged for Grandma Chi-san to have a physical examination. The results of the physical examination made everyone very happy. Grandma Chi-san was in good health and could withstand the bumpy journey and take a plane. Afterwards, Huo Yingjun took Grandma Chi-san, He Tian and others directly to the train and boarded the special train to Guangzhou. Grandma, if you feel uncomfortable, you must tell me, and you must not bear it. He Tian saw that Grandma Chi-san's lips were dry, so she poured a glass of water for Grandma Chi-san. Grandma Chi-san took it, drank a few sips, and smiled, I'm fine, some people get dizzy when riding in a car, but I don't. Huo Yingjun brought a few oranges over, put them on the small table, and said, Grandma Chi, eat oranges. This time it was so smooth, Huo Yingjun was also much more relaxed. Thank you. Grandma Chi-san smiled and took an orange in her hand. Yingjun, how long will it take us to get to Hong Kong? Huo Yingjun looked at the watch on his wrist and said, the train will take another night and arrive in Guangzhou tomorrow morning. After that, we have to take a boat to get to Hong Kong. Oh, it's still early, Tian, don't be nervous, eat when you should, and sleep when you should. Grandma Chi-san said to He Tian, who was in a nervous state, you are so nervous and hard, I didn't fall down, but you fell down first. Haha, Grandma, I know. He Tian agreed, she really didn't need to be so nervous. With Huo Yingjun here, I believe he has made careful arrangements. Even if something happened, there is still the Snake King. So, He Tian really ate and drank as Grandma Chi-san said, and she didn't need to worry about anything else except serving Grandma Chi-san. The train finally arrived at the station. When they were about to get off, Huo Yingjun asked, Grandma Chi, are you feeling unwell? Grandma Chi-san shook her head and said, no, we can arrange a boat today. He Tian knew that Grandma Chi-san was anxious to see her son, so she nodded to Huo Yingjun. Two cars came to the train station and took Huo Yingjun and his party directly to the dock and boarded a fishing boat. The fishing boat sailed on the vast sea and stopped next to an island. It was already dark at this time. After a while, a small boat came out from the other side of the island. Huo Yingjun helped Grandma Chi-san and He Tian get on the boat together, and then got to the cruise ship. Grandma Chi-san was a little tired at this time. He Tian took Grandma Chi-san to wash and rest. Fortunately, Grandma Chi-san had a good appetite. After eating, she was energetic and said, Tian, it's not easy to come out. Yes, He Tian also said with emotion that like in the future, H-port has returned, and it is much more convenient to go to H-port. Fortunately, we have Yingjun along the way, otherwise the two of us, one old and one young, would have suffered even more along the way. Grandma Chi-san said, Tian, please go to sleep in the bed next to you. We will probably have to rush on the road tomorrow. The cruise ship was swaying, and He Tian couldn't sleep, tossing and turning. After a while, Grandma Chi-san's hazy voice came over, sweet girl, why don't you sleep? Staggering, I can't sleep, He Tian replied in a low voice. Grandma, did I disturb you? I'd better go to the next room to sleep. No, you stay here to sleep. I'm not worried if you go out, Grandma Chi-san said. He Jingyu and his wife could rest assured to leave their daughter to her. She must take care of He Tian's safety. Actually, you can think of it this way, swaying like a cradle, the sound of the waves outside is like a lullaby hummed by my mother. Will it feel better if you try this? Grandma Chi-san can sleep no matter whether she is on the train or on a cruise ship at sea. Even if she is not used to the new environment, she will think of ways to adapt herself to the new environment. Compared with Grandma Chi-san, He Tian felt that she was extremely weak. He Tian followed Grandma Chi-san's instructions and used the bed as a cradle. The sound of waves outside was her mother's lullaby. She gradually relaxed herself and soon fell into a dream. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 346. 344. Seeing He Tian sleeping, Grandma Chi-san continued to calm her heart and fell into a dream. She knew that although her body was relatively strong, if she didn't sleep well, she would not be in good spirits tomorrow, which would affect her subsequent schedule. With such inner hints and an extremely regular daily routine, Grandma Chi-san quickly fell asleep. With the sound of the waves, you fall into a sweet dream. Huo Yingjun had a brief chat with his colleagues on the cruise ship, arranged some things, and then went back to rest. When I woke up the next morning, the waiter on the cruise ship gave Grandma Chi-san and He Tian the clothes that Huo Yingjun had asked to prepare. He Tian is wearing a white small v-neck dress with puff sleeves and underwear, a pair of pink sandals, and stockings. When He Tian saw the bra, her eyes lit up. Finally she no longer had to wear the vest she made. He Tian changed into clothes and leather shoes, and kept looking in the mirror in the bathroom. Compared with her previous life, it felt a bit retro, but compared with her current clothes, they were much better. Grandma Chi-san wears a complete set of clothes including a purple shirt and black pants. Grandma, let me help you change clothes, He Tian asked curiously when she saw that Chi-san's grandma had not changed clothes. Grandma Chi-san frowned and said, I won't wear such clothes because they don't look good. But clothes like this are more beautiful than our coats, He Tian persuaded, thinking that Grandma Chi-san thought the clothes were too trendy. At this moment, Grandma Chi-san thought of bringing her own clothes and said, the weather here is similar to our summer there, so I will wear the cheongsam I brought. He Tian thought for a while and said, okay, that dress looks good too. These pants and shoes do look a bit ugly on you. Because Grandma Chi-san has small feet, she can't wear shoes at all. As for the pants, they are a bit long and drag directly to the ground. I couldn't find any needle or thread for a while. He Tian stepped forward, opened the rattan suitcase, and took out the blue cheongsam inside, which was embroidered with elegant magnolia flowers and the soft satin was shiny. Grandma Chi-san put on the new style of underwear herself, then put on this blue cheongsam, and put on blue satin embroidered shoes made from the leftover fabric from the cheongsam. The shoes were also embroidered with exquisite and elegant magnolia flowers. It echoes the magnolia flowers on the cheongsam. The shoes are small and very delicate. Grandma Chi-san wrapped a layer of foot wrap around her feet, then put on stockings and embroidered shoes. I have to say that Grandma Chi-san's aesthetics is different. The foot wrap only covers the toes and soles. After putting on the stockings, the foot wrap inside cannot be seen. Oops, this old lady shouldn't live in the mountains at all. If she were in Hong Kong, a metropolis in the United States, she would be a fashionable old lady. Grandma, let me put your hair up, He Tian said. She already had clothes and shoes, and He Tian wanted to give Grandma Chi-san a better hairstyle. Grandma Chi-san smiled and said, okay, what I taught you before can be put to use now. He Tian stood behind Grandma Chi-san, and soon gave Grandma Chi-san an elegant bun. "Oh, it would be nice if there was a hosta," he Tian said regretfully, "and when she put it in her bun, she would be a graceful old lady." "Okay, just use my silver hairpin," Grandma Chi-san said with a smile. "With so many people at home, it's hard for me to go down and get some jewelry. When it's here, I'll ask my son to buy it for me." When he Tian heard this, she laughed and said, "Grandma Chi, aren't you afraid that Uncle Shuliang will have no money?" "No, child," Grandma Chi-san smiled, "although Huo Yingja and Huo Yingjun didn't say anything about Shuliang's life abroad, I can guess that it is either rich or noble. Otherwise, how could these people in China be like this? Pay attention to my son. Since you are either rich or noble, then buying a few pieces of jewelry for me as a mother is nothing." Grandma Chi-san speaks eloquently and shrewdly. "That's what you said," he Tian was convinced and inserted the silver hairpin into Grandma Chi-san's bun. Seeing that the service staff also brought cosmetics, he Tian said, "Grandma, let me put some makeup on you." "Can you do it?" Grandma Chi-san was dubious and looked at he Tian, who had always been naked. "When I was in Nanchi, I saw my mother have her makeup done," he Tian said. "Grandma, let me try it. If it doesn't look good, you can still wash it off. Anyway, it's still early and there's still time. I have to say, there are so many different things here in Hong Kong. There are lotions, creams, and foundations available, as well as eyebrow shaping tools." He Tian first trimmed Chi-san's eyebrows, but she only used a razor blade to shave off a few stray eyebrows, revealing a nice-looking eyebrow shape. "I have to say that she is beautiful and has exquisite facial features. Even though she is an elderly lady, she is still a beautiful old lady." He Tian put light makeup on Grandma Chi-san. It was not the kind of pale face and red lips that is popular in Hong Kong now, but based on the original look of Grandma Chi-san, with a little decoration. "After applying water, lotion, cream, and a little foundation, my skin is just a little whiter than before, not too abrupt, and my eyebrows are traced with an eyebrow pencil." Grandma Chi-san's lips were a little light in color, so he Tian picked a darker lipstick and put a little bit on Grandma Chi-san's lips. "Grandma, purse your lips like this to blend out the red color on your lips," he Tian reminded that by spreading it out, you can show a nice color. Grandma Chi-san walked to the mirror, looked at herself in the mirror, smiled happily, and said, "It's so beautiful, this is how people should look." After speaking, he looked in the mirror and pursed his lips. The color on his lips was just right. He Tian is very simple, just a simple ponytail, tied up high, paired with a white dress, the fresh breath comes to your face. Not bad, not bad." Grandma Chi-san packed up, looked at herself in the mirror, then looked at he Tian, and praised her repeatedly. At this time, Huo Yingjun came over with 2 suitcases. He Tian went to open the door. Huo Yingja outside was stunned. He Tian looked very good in fashionable clothes. "Brother handsome, come in," he Tian smiled and woke up the stunned Huo Yingjun. After entering the house, Huo Yingjun was startled again when he saw the newly dressed Grandma Chi-san. As an uncle, it was hard for him to say that his future sister-in-law was well dressed, but Grandma Chi-san was the elder, so Huo Yingjun did not hesitate to praise her. "Grandma Chi, you are so elegant and elegant. The rich old ladies here in Hong Kong are not as good as you," Huo Yingjun said. "Here are the clothes prepared by our people. When we arrive in Hong Kong, we live directly in relatives' homes and dress them up. Let's start again in a day or two." This was Huo Yingjun's sincere compliment. He originally wanted to explain it to them, but he didn't expect that this old lady was so adaptable. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 347. 345. Grandma Chi-san was very happy to hear the young man's praise. "Haha, this kid knows how to praise people." Grandma Chi-san laughed. "Okay, If you have anything else to say, just say it and we will try our best to cooperate. Huo Yingjun smiled and said, now you and Tian Tian are Chinese in Singapore. This is your identity document. Take a cruise to visit relatives in Hong Kong, and then go to the United States. The identity documents, Tian Tian, be careful. Inside the suitcase. Tian Tian opened the box. There was a pink leather bag in her box, which contained her and Grandma Chi San's IDs. Tian Tian read it once and remembered it. The name in it was the same as before, but the nationality changed and she became a Singaporean. This is fine, it saves a lot of trouble. Tian Tian opened Grandma Chi San's suitcase, took out Grandma Chi San's black leather bag, and said, Grandma, your bag will be more stylish later. Yes, Huo Yingjun agreed, Tian Tian is your granddaughter. You are the two grandsons who came to Port H to travel. We are your bodyguards. We will arrive at the dock in an hour. You guys pack your things. We'll be ashore soon. Yes, I understand, Tian Tian agreed. Huo Yingjun went out and Tian Tian asked Grandma Chi San to sit down and she started to pack her things. With 2 suitcases, the previous 2 rattan boxes are no longer needed. The clothes with the characteristics of the times are also placed in the rattan boxes. They will be handed over to Huo Yingjun later for them to help. Keep it. Tian Tian could see the situation outside from the window. The cruise ship had arrived and there were many people on the pier holding signs to pick people up. Tian Tian glanced aside, her eyesight was very good, and she saw Old Lady Chi and Miss Tian Tian in the crowd. Grandma, look, someone is coming to pick us up below, Tian Tian pointed outside to show Grandma Chi San. Grandma Chi San glanced at it for a few times, but couldn't see clearly the words on it. She smiled and said, it's because she is getting old and her eyesight is dazzled, so she can't see the words clearly. Tuk tuk tuk, there was a knock on the door, and Huo Yingjun was already waiting outside. Grandma Chi San smiled and said, let's go, I can't wait to see the outside world. Tian Tian opened the door, and Huo Yingjun and 2 colleagues came in. Grandma Chi, it's time for us to disembark. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me. Huo Yingjun smiled and asked his colleagues to get things. Don't throw away the things I changed into, Grandma Chi San said. They were all accumulated through her hard work and she was reluctant to throw them away. Don't worry, old lady, you have kept everything. Huo Yingjun smiled and said, Miss He, can we go? Grandma Chi San, Tian Tian looked at each other with a smile and said, that's enough. Surrounded by bodyguards, the grandfather and grandson got off the cruise ship safely. Grandma Chi San has small feet, so Tian Tian kept supporting Grandma Chi San and received many looks along the way. But when everyone saw Grandma Chi San's demeanor, they thought she was an old lady from a wealthy family. When we got to the shore, there was a man who looked like a housekeeper outside. He held a big sign, bowed slightly and said with a smile, is this MRSG? Huo Yingjun stepped forward and said with a smile, yes, we are the Chi family in Singapore. We are the Zhao family in Hong Kong. The old lady heard that the old lady from the Chi family was coming today and asked me to pick her up. Can you leave now? The middle-aged butler-looking man was very respectful. Then please lead the way, thank you, Huo Yingjun said politely, also to deceive others. After getting in the car and driving for about an hour, we arrived at a villa with a beautiful environment. Old lady, the young lady is getting off the car. Huo Yingjun said, this is the villa of the Zhao family. The Zhao family is a red businessman. They can help us temporarily for a few days. For the sake of acting, MRS Zhao came here in person today to host a banquet for you. This is the Huo family's ally in Hong Kong. After getting out of the car, a rich old lady walked over surrounded by several servants. Tian Tian helped Grandma Chi San get out of the car. My sister is here. Please forgive me for not being far away to greet her. Old MRS Zhao was stunned. She felt that Grandma Chi-san looked familiar, but she couldn't remember her for a moment. Grandma Chi-san has a strong heart. When faced with such an enthusiastic Mrs. Zhao whom she has never met before, she is neither humble nor overbearing. She smiles and says, "Sister, you're welcome." However, Grandma Chi-san also felt that the old lady in front of her looked familiar. But now in front of everyone, no one dared to say anything, and they entered the villa together. "I know my sister is tired from the journey, so I'll just eat whatever I want for lunch, and we'll make dinner a little more sumptuous," Mrs. Zhao said with a smile. Even though she said it was simple, the table was full of food. Knowing that Grandma Chi-san was not used to using knives and forks, she just used chopsticks. "Sorry to trouble you, sister," old MRSG said with a smile, and the host and guest enjoyed the meal. After dinner, Grandma Chi-san and He Tian went to rest in the house. Grandma Chi-san was thoughtful and silent. "Grandma, what's wrong with you? It seems like you've stopped talking since you came here," He Tian asked, very curious. He Tian can understand why Grandma Chi-san behaves like this when outsiders are around. But now there are no outsiders, only their grandparents and grandson. Why doesn't Grandma Chi-san say anything? "I think that old Mrs. Zhao looks familiar, but it's been too long and I can't remember it for a while," Grandma Chi-san murmured. She usually doesn't feel like this, so she keeps immersed in her own thoughts. In memory. "Grandma, although the world is full of wonders, you will never meet someone you know." "How can there be such a coincidence in the world?" He Tian said. "Okay, you are tired, I will take a bath." Grandma Chi-san felt that what He Tian said made sense, nodded and said, "What you said is that there are not so many coincidences in the world." Not far away, Mrs. Zhao did not take a nap as usual, but leaned against the window and stared. "Old lady, it's time to rest," the servant whispered, reminding the old lady to rest. "You go down." Mrs. Zhao waved her hand and asked the servant to go down. When she was alone, Mrs. Zhao continued to think. The two old ladies had such doubts, but neither of them took a step forward. Huo Yingjun and his party stayed in Hong Kong for 3 days before boarding a plane to country M. After leaving, Mrs. Zhao suddenly realized and exclaimed, "I remembered, she is." "Old madam, who do you remember?" the servant asked, very curious. The old madam was always calm and rarely surprised like this. Mrs. Zhao thought of Huo Yingjun's identity and thought that that person was by Huo Yingjun's side, so she couldn't tell it in front of outsiders. When she got the chance, she would definitely ask Huo Yingjun. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 348. Chapter 348 Important Lesson Filial Piety. 346. Speaking of the plane, Grandma Chi-san looked around like a curious child. Tian, let me sit by the window of the plane. I want to see below," Grandma Chi-san said excitedly. She really didn't expect that she would have the opportunity to sit on the plane. She must be high in the sky and look at the ground. "Okay," He Tian agreed and helped Grandma Chi-san sit inside. The plane took off, and He Tian followed the reminder on the radio and put on the seat belt for Grandma Chi-san. Grandma Chi-san was sitting on the edge, waiting for the plane to take off. As the plane took off and climbed, Grandma Chi-san's ears felt a little uncomfortable, but there was no other bad thing. "Grandma, open your mouth," He Tian reminded, "this will reduce the tinnitus." Grandma Chi-san opened her mouth slightly, and it was indeed better than before. When the plane reached the stratosphere, it gradually stabilized and the previous discomfort completely disappeared. "Grandma, what would you like to drink?" He Tian asked. Here, there is juice, cola, and warm water." Grandma Chi-san thought for a while and said, let's get some boiling water. He Tian asked Grandma Chi-san for boiling water, and she ordered a glass of juice for herself. Huo Ying-jun felt that it was right to bring He Tian here this time. He Tian was there along the way and took good care of Grandma Chi-san. If Grandma Chi-san had something wrong with her health while on the road, Chi-shu would not appreciate it even if he wanted to reunite mother and son. Grandma Chi-san looked at the white clouds outside and wished she could collect some clouds and put them up. After the strange energy passed, Grandma Chi-san went to the bathroom, and when she came back, she fell asleep. After waking up, I ate and listened to the music on the plane. But most of the music was rock and roll, and I finally found a few conch operas in it, which Grandma Chi-san enjoyed listening to. Seeing Grandma Chi-san's relaxed state, He Tian once again sighed at Grandma Chi-san's strong heart. As a follower, she followed Grandma Chi-san to country M. She was surprised and a little nervous along the way. Grandma Chi-san, on the other hand, was curious but not nervous along the way. After more than 10 hours of flying, a nice voice came over the radio, and we finally landed immediately. He Tian fastened her seat belt on Grandma Chi-san again, packed the small table in front of her, and waited for landing. When the plane came down, Grandma Chi-san actually remembered to open her mouth to relieve the symptoms of tinnitus. Grandma, we are in country M. He Tian smiled and helped Grandma Chi-san off the plane. Huo Yingja followed Grandma Chi-san, carrying her in salute. Brother Handsome, have you notified Uncle Chi to pick up Grandma? He Tian asked. Now the person Chi-san wants to see the most is Chi Shuliang. Huo Yingjun smiled and said, Grandma Chi, don't mind. We didn't tell Mr. Chi before, for fear that he would be too nervous. It's okay, Grandma Chi-san said, then let's go directly to him and give him a surprise. Surprise? Grandma Chi-san, do you want to be so advanced and so cute? Haha, Grandma Chi, that's not enough. We have a flight to New York tomorrow, Huo Yingja explained. Flights from Port H to New York usually transfer here. Grandma Chi-san was a little disappointed, but soon she smiled again and said, oh, I have arrived on the other side of the ocean, and it will only be a matter of time before I see my son. Huo Yingjun was very grateful for Grandma Chi-san's cooperation, and the group arrived and settled in the hotel. Early the next morning, I got on a plane to New York. Before going, Huo Yingjun called Chi Shuliang. Hello, Tony speaking. Chi Shu answered the phone over there, and a magnetic and elegant voice came over. Huo Yingjun smiled and said, Mr. Chi, I have brought MRSG to country M. We will arrive at 12 o'clock. You can pick us up. Chi Shu was stunned. Huo Yingjun was a very polite young man. If he were an ordinary person, he would not let him pick him up in person. Chi Shu held the phone's hand, secretly exerting force, a little nervous, and asked cautiously and expectantly, is it, my mother? Yes, Huo Yingjun answered affirmatively. How is mother? The journey must be very hard, right? Chi Shuliang stood up as if his mother was standing over the phone. Can I talk to my mother? Chi Shuliang's eyes were filled with tears and his voice was trembling. Grandma Chi is on the bus now. I think it's best not to let her get too excited now. How about we talk about everything after you get there, Huo Yingjun suggested, in case the old lady gets excited and something happens on the plane. Yes, he will never be able to atone for his sins. Okay, Chi Shuliang thought about it and begged, please take good care of my mother. This is what we should do, Huo Yingjun said, we have to catch a plane, see you later. See you later, Chi Shuliang was more polite than ever before, and his face was filled with excitement. Anna came out of the restaurant. Chi Jinmin and Chi Zhengan had already changed into their school uniforms and said, Dad, we are going to school. Why go to school? Chi Shuliang said loudly, today, Dad will teach you the most important lesson in life. Anna, Qi Zhengan, and Qi Zhenmin were stunned and at a loss as they looked at the unusual Qi Shuliang. "Dear, what's wrong?" Anna said. "If they don't leave, they will be late for school." Qi Shuliang stepped forward and hugged his wife, patted his son on the shoulder, touched his head, and said, "Your grandmother has come to country and we will be at the airport at 12 o'clock. We are going to pick her up." "Mother? Grandmother?" Anna, Qi Zhengan, and Qi Zhenmin were shocked. "Yes, my mother is also your grandmother," Qi Shuliang said with tears in his eyes. "Today my father will teach you an important lesson, filial piety. I didn't do it well before, I hope you can do it well." Anna was very excited after hearing this. She was her husband's mother and her mother. She loved her husband, so she would also love her mother-in-law. "Zhengan, Zhenmin, you call the teacher to ask for leave and say that the most important person in your life is here and our family is going to pick him up," Anna arranged. "Dear, you should call the company to adjust today's schedule. Work schedule. As for me, I will immediately pack up a comfortable room to make my mother's stay more comfortable." After hearing his wife's words, Qi Shuliang realized that he had forgotten everything because of his excitement. Qi Zhengan asked his son and daughter to take leave first, and then he called the company's secretary and senior management, saying that he had something to do and could not go to the company today, and asked him to manage the company's daily work. "If there is something important that cannot be decided, then we will discuss it tomorrow." After taking leave, Qi Zhengan and Qi Zhenmin accompanied their mother to clean up their grandmother's room. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 349. 347. What is different from the mother Iwajiwu is the mood of the two children. Qi Zhengan and Qi Zhenmin are young and have never seen their grandmother. Their love for their grandmother comes from their father's longing for their grandmother, so in terms of filial piety, parents are always the best role models for their children. After things were arranged, Qi Shuliang looked at his watch and said, "I'm worried about traffic jams on the road, let's go ahead of time." "Okay, dear, I will ask the maid to clean up." "Let's go to the airport first," Anna agreed, simply packed up her makeup, and went to the airport with her husband and children. Along the way, except for the family driver, Qi Shuliang and his family were very excited. The family was traveling in a car, followed by a 7-seat commercial bus. The airport was always overcrowded, and they arrived an hour early. Rather than feeling bored, they were more excited. When they arrived at the airport, Qi Zhenmin and Qi Zhengan held up the temporary pickup sign they made, which said Grandma on it. We were about to get off the plane, and Grandma Qi-san was a little nervous at this time. This can be seen from the fact that she has been holding He Tian's hand tightly. "Grandma, don't be nervous," He Tian smiled and said, "It's a good thing, in case you get excited, the good thing turns into a bad thing." "Grandma, look at it, it's so wonderful outside, we still have to go shopping. When we go shopping, we can't hurt our bodies because of excitement. We won't have time to go shopping in a good mood." Grandma Qi-san took a few deep breaths to calm down her complicated mood. "What I'm saying is, that's my son, why should I be nervous?" Grandma Qi-san encouraged herself, "Even if I leave him for a long time, he is still my son." After hearing this, He Tian gave a thumbs up and said, "Yes, Grandma, you should have such a spirit." Huo Yingjun in the back was quite dumbfounded after hearing this. This Grandma Qi-san is not an ordinary old lady, and this He Tian is not an ordinary little girl. Think about it, why is she so special? At the same time, Huo Yingjun also understood why his cousin Huo Yingja liked this little girl. Following the pedestrians, Grandma Qi-san, He Tian and others got off the plane. The airport was crowded, and Huo Yingjun helped carry the luggage. He Tian only needs to carry the small bag and support Grandma Qi-san to walk in front. "Oh, socialism is good, but why do I find that the US imperialist countries are also good? If nothing else, look at the big airport room, the big plane, and the cars running on the road. It is much more developed than our country. Grandma Chi-san whispered to He Tian, with a mixture of envy and confusion in her tone. In China, there are not many two-wheeled bicycles on the road, let alone four-wheeled cars. Not only Grandma Chi-san thinks so, but almost everyone who comes here thinks so. Confused yet excited. Grandma, maybe we will develop like this in the future, He Tian smiled. Even though she was just a small vendor making braised pork in her previous life, she also knew her mistake. Even if H was very developed in the future, she still could not catch up with M country. However, high-rise buildings are everywhere, and large and small cars are running all over the ground. This is actually achieved. I hope so. Maybe you can see that my old bones can't be seen anymore, Grandma Chi-san said sadly, looking at the new things around her with great curiosity. Finally arriving at the exit, Huo Yingjun glanced at the crowd and saw Qi Shuliang's family standing at the front. Grandma Qi, look ahead, Huo Yingjun said with a smile, pointing not far away. Grandma Qi-san didn't know her son would come to pick him up at the airport, and thought Huo Yingjun didn't notify his family. Grandma Qi-san, He Tian followed the direction pointed by Huo Yingjun and looked not far away. Grandma Qi-san stopped and did not move forward. She just looked at the man not far away without blinking. That was her son. Even with just one glance, she was extremely sure. The moment she saw her son, all the grievances and longings she felt in Grandma Qi-san's heart disappeared, leaving only happiness, so now she did not shed tears, and looked at her son quietly with a smile. Among the noisy crowd, only Grandma Qi-san was calm and quiet. Grandma, Grandma! He Tian shouted softly, they can't come in, let's stop standing and get out. Okay, Grandma Qi-san said with a smile. She was no longer nervous or excited. Just because she saw her son, her inner world no longer had worries, so she was very calm. Qi Shu over there was excited when he saw his mother, crying sometimes and laughing sometimes. Qi Zhenmin and Qi Zhengan also saw the old lady wearing a cheongsam not far away. She looked the same as the old lady in their photos at home. She was their grandmother. Grandma. Qi Zhenmin's young and high-pitched voice seemed even clearer in the noisy airport. Hey, Grandma Qi-san agreed and walked towards her son's family. Following the crowd, Grandma Qi-san and He Tian finally came out. Qi Shuliang quickly ran to Grandma Qi-san. Instead of being hugged by her mother like Westerners do, she knelt down on the ground with a bang, kowtowed 3 times, and choked with sobs, my son is not filial. In the past, when I returned home from my hometown, the first thing I did was to worship my parents. There is gold under the man's knees. He must kneel to heaven and kneel to his parents. The Westerners walking around were very puzzled when they saw a well-dressed middle-aged Asian man doing such a thing in a public place. They did not understand the Oriental etiquette or the Oriental language, but Qi Shuliang's passionate feelings that were beyond words infected the people around him, and no one blamed or ridiculed him. Qi Zhengan, Qi Zhenmin, and Anna, who were behind him, also knelt down and kowtowed to Grandma Qi-san, imitating their husbands. Grandma Qi-san saw this, her nose was a little sour, she reached out to help her son up, and said, okay, you are so old, but you are still crying. You should get up too, I already know your intentions. Qi Shuliang got up with the help of his mother, looking at his mother with tears in his eyes. Grandma Qi-san took out a handkerchief, gently wiped her son's tears, and said, don't cry, let's go home. Qi Shuliang nodded and said, yes, mother. He Tian whispered to remind him, Grandma, your grandson and granddaughter are looking at you curiously. Grandma Qi-san smiled and said, they are all good children, don't cry. She reached out and lovingly touched her eldest grandson Qi Zhengan, who was taller than her. They really looked like each other, and they looked too much like her son when he was young. When her eyes focused on her granddaughter Chi Jinmin's face, Grandma Chi-san smiled. The little girl had big wavy hair like her mother, but her face shape looked like her. This girl looks like me. Grandma Chi-san smiled and looked at Anna. Anna, you've worked hard. It's not hard, Mom, Anna said excitedly, it's nice to see you. The house has been cleaned up. Let's go home together. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 350. 348. I was busy talking and forgot to introduce He Tian Tian. Grandma Chi-san smiled, and then said with a smile, I forgot to introduce you to her. This is the granddaughter I recognized in China, He Tian Tian. Thanks to her for taking care of me along the way. He Tian Tian smiled and said modestly and politely, nice to meet you. Thank you very much, Miss He. Chi Shuliang said gratefully. His mother must have suffered a lot after a hard journey. You're welcome, He Tian Tian chuckled. Huo Yingjun smiled and said, Mr. Chi, it's better to go back quickly and send people to your mansion. Our mission will be completed. Chi Shuliang nodded and said, thank you for your kindness. There is nothing left to say, let's go home first. Huo Yingjun was sitting in Chi Shuliang's car. Chi Shuliang's family was with Grandma Chi, and He Tian Tian got into the commercial car behind. Although it was the first time we met, there was no awkwardness. He Tian Tian sighed in her heart, blood relationship is really a strange thing. Mom, my son is unfilial. Sitting next to his mother, Chi Shuliang couldn't help but want to shed tears again. This day probably made him shed a lifetime of tears. Haha, don't say that, Grandma Chi-san patted the back of Chi Shuliang's hand, the fact that you can live well is the greatest filial piety to me as a mother. As for you not being able to come to me, there are reasons for that. I don't blame you. Now you are living a good life, have a wife, children, and a successful career, so you are already doing very well. Hearing what his mother said, Chi Shu felt no less guilty in his conscience. On the contrary, he felt even more sorry for his mother. Grandma, you are so beautiful, even better than the photos, Chi Jinmin said sweetly. Dad said I look like Grandma. Will I be as beautiful as Grandma in the future? Ha ha ha, Grandma Chi-san was very happy when she heard this. She approached her on behalf of her granddaughter, you will be more beautiful than Grandma. Chi Jinmin smiled sweetly when she received her grandma's praise and asked, will you be more beautiful than Sister Tian Tian? Grandma Chi-san looked at He Tian Tian, then at Chi Jinmin, and said with a smile, you two are the most beautiful in Grandma's heart. Chi Jinmin fell in love with this beautiful sister at first sight. He was very happy to hear that he would be as beautiful as her beautiful sister in the future. Chi Zhengan is a boy, not as active as a girl, but when he heard his sister talking about He Tian Tian, he still pretended to glance at He Tian Tian casually. In the past, he had always thought that American girls with fair skin and tall figures were attractive, but now he wanted to say that it was because he had never seen such a beautiful Oriental young woman as He Tian Tian before. He Tian Tian was a little embarrassed to be praised by Grandma Chi-san, and said modestly, thank you very much. Along the way, Chi Jinmin, a clever pistachio, made the car burst into happy laughter from time to time. The car drove for about an hour and a half and arrived at the door of a large private villa. The door opened in response, and the car slowly drove in. Anna, please arrange for Mother and Tian Tian to rest. I have something to do and I want to talk to Mr. Huo. Chi Shuliang did not forget the business. He wanted to finish the matter first so that he could calmly talk to his mother about their separation after so many years. Okay, honey, Anna smiled, Mom, let's go in. Several servants came over to help Grandma Chi-san and He Tian Tian carry their luggage. Anna had only cleaned up Grandma Chi-san's room before, but not for He Tian Tian. Fortunately, there were several guest rooms at home, which were usually kept clean and ready to stay at any time. Anna was thoughtful. He Tianatian's room was not far from her mother-in-law Chi San's room. She hoped that He Tianatian's presence would make it easier for her mother-in-law. He Tian first sent Grandma Chi San to her room and helped her tidy up. After Grandma Chi San had washed herself and put on home clothes, she returned to her room. Her room is on the second floor with large windows, letting in the sunlight from outside. He Tian quickly packed up the gifts and put them in the closet. Then she took her pajamas and went to the bathroom to wash up. Looking at the clean and advanced bathing equipment, He Tianatian's eyes almost fell off. It was so much better than having to boil water at home and pour it into a hanging bucket with a hole in the bottom of the shower. Oops, Grandma Chi San said it right, material life in capitalist countries is rich. He Tian took a bath, washed her hair comfortably, and her body was covered with bath bubbles. While taking a bath, I hummed a cheerful ditty. By the time He Tian came out, it was already half an hour later. There was a hair dryer in the bathroom, but He Tian never liked using it, so she wore pajamas and a blanket and sat on a comfortable chair to dry her hair. The long hair, like fine ink, poured down from the back of the chair, shining brightly under the sunlight. Because of exhaustion, He Tian fell asleep covered with a blanket. Grandma is resting, and Sister Qi Zhenmin is helping her mother prepare dinner. Qi Zhengan was bored, so he went for a walk in the yard and inadvertently saw the beautiful black-haired woman sitting in a window beside the second-floor window, sleeping with her little head tilted. He knew it was impolite to stare at the other person like this, but he didn't know why he couldn't look away. I took a nap at noon, and at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Grandma Chi San got up. He Tian also had enough sleep, changed into clothes, and went to see Grandma Chi San. Grandma Chi San has already changed into clothes with the help of the servant. Just after going downstairs, Anna had 2 boxes of clothes delivered, one for Grandma Chi San and one for He Tian. Anna's observation skills are very rare. These clothes are basically fit. Mom, Shuliang likes Chinese food. I'm afraid you are not used to Western food, so I asked them to make Chinese food. Can we have Western food tonight? Anna personally brought 2 glasses of milk, and there were 2 small plates of cookies on the tray. Sure, I'll try how Chinese food tastes abroad, Grandma Chi San said with a smile. The environment here is really good. She kept sighing in her heart that her son is really promising. Anna went to prepare dinner. Before leaving, she told her daughter and her son to chat with their grandmother. Sitting in the house, it was boring. Grandma Chi San smiled and said, Xiaomin, Xiao Han, I see that the house and yard are quite big. Can you take me and Tian around and introduce them to me? Yeah, okay, I'm a little guide today. Qi Zhenmin nodded repeatedly. Grandma, I'll help you. With her granddaughter being filial, He Tian didn't move forward. Before coming, Wang Shuping had talked to her and advised He Tian not to think too much. If Grandma Chi San saw her granddaughter and didn't pay as much attention to He Tian as before, she told her not to feel disappointed. It's not that Grandma Chi San didn't like her, but a person's energy is limited, and it's inevitable that she would be a little negligent when seeing her blood relatives. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 351. 349. If He Tian was an ordinary little girl, she might feel a little lost, but she is not. She understands these social customs. Qi Zhenmin supported Grandma Chi San and walked in front, pointing and explaining the scenery on the side to Grandma Chi San. He Tian watched and listened with relish in the back. Qi Zhengan walked side by side with He Tian. He was used to seeing these scenery at home and did not find it new. What made him feel new was He Tian Tian beside him. Feeling someone looking at her, He Tian Tian turned her head and whispered, "Your house is so big." "Yes, this is the manor left by my grandfather. Although my father has a house in other places, he has never moved because he is used to living here," Qi Zhengan answered with a shy smile on his face. He Tian Tian suddenly realized that it was no wonder that this villa and yard, although it was elegant everywhere, looked a bit old. It turned out that it was not a new house, but one passed down by the older generation. "It's great here, I like it very much," He Tian Tian praised. "Living in such a good environment every day, you must be in a good mood." Qi Zhengan looked around. He has been living here all the time, he has gotten used to it, and he didn't think it was special. But when he heard He Tianatian's praise, he really thought it was great here. "Yes, if you like it, you can live here for a long time," Qi Zhengan said without thinking, just hoping that she would stay. "Thank you," He Tian Tian said. "I came here with my grandma this time, and I may have to go back after a while. No matter how good this place is, I won't stay here without my parents and fiancé." "That's a pity," Qi Zhengan said regretfully, and suddenly fiancé flashed in his mind. "Oh my god, He Tian Tian already has a fiancé. How old is He Tian Tian? Is it really like what the classmates in M country said, that men and women in H country get married so early?" Do you have a fiancé?" Qi Zhengan asked stutteringly, a little nervous. He Tian Tian nodded and said, "Yes, grandma has seen him too. He is a very talented person. Our parents know each other. We are childhood sweethearts." Qi Zhengan was extremely disappointed. He used to learn idioms from his father, and one of them was childhood sweethearts, two little innocents. This means close lovers who have been in love since childhood and have a good relationship and will enter the marriage palace in the future. Then congratulations. Although Qi Zhengan was disappointed, his long-term aristocratic education did not make him lose his composure because of the loss. "Thank you," He Tian Tian smiled, looked ahead, and continued to listen to Qi Zhenmin's explanation. Alas, in fact, she didn't want to say that she had a fiancé at the beginning, but He Tian Tian had to say it. The sensitive He Tian Tian caught the handsome Qi Zhengan often peeking at her. He Tian Tian was very familiar with that kind of eyes. Before she and Huo Yingzhe made their relationship clear, she often looked at Huo Yingzhe with such eyes. That was a look of exploration, admiration, and a little sweet excitement. Rather than waiting for the other party to fall deeply in love, it is better to explain it earlier. In this way, under the constraints of reason and morality, that little admiration will fade over time until it disappears. Or turn into friendship. Just like Qi Ling before. It's not that He Tian Tian doesn't know, but she has someone in her heart, so there is no need to be ambiguous with others, which will hurt others and herself. Since she will not fall in love with someone else, she will not give anyone ambiguous guesses. Qi Zhengan, who was walking behind He Tian Tian, felt a little lost, but he also knew that the two people had just met, and the throbbing in his heart did not represent love. It took more than an hour for Qi Zhenmin to take everyone around and get a general understanding of the manor. Grandma Qi San also learned the origin of this manor from Qi Zhenmin's words. Her son found a good daughter-in-law. It was rare for a lady from a big family to be so approachable and respect her mother-in-law who she had only met once. Just as they were watching a few puppies playing frisbee, Qi Shuliang came over with a smile on his face. "Mom, how was your rest?" Qi Shuliang smiled and supported the other side of Grandma Qi San. "I rested well, the bed was very soft, I liked it very much." Grandma Qi San smiled. "Have you finished talking to Ying Jun?" "I have finished talking," Qi Shuliang said. "I have dealt with things here, and I am waiting for Yanjing." "Good boy," Grandma Qi San praised. "Tell me, where have you been all these years?" Qi Shuliang looked ashamed and said, "At that time, I was in Nanji. I had packed my things and was ready to leave. However, I happened to catch up with the retreat, and I was taken to Tea Island. I wanted to come back, but I couldn't. Fortunately, I have good ability and high education. I found a job, saved some money, and started a business. Later, I couldn't stand the atmosphere there, so I came to country M with a little savings. After some ability, I achieved some results, and then I married Anna. With the help of my father-in-law, my career has been further developed, and I have achieved the current results. Although the son only narrated it lightly, it was thrilling to hear Grandma Chi-san's ears. You've worked hard, Grandma Chi-san comforted her. Fortunately, after all the hardship, I'm enjoying happiness. Your father is unlucky. He can't see such a promising son and can't live such a good life. Chi Shuliang was sad and said, I didn't wear mourning for my father. I feel guilty about it. Haha, don't be sad. Your father originally thought you were dead, but now that you are alive, he can laugh so hard that he can't stand up straight even in the underground. Grandma Chi-san said with a smile, if you feel guilty all day long and cannot face the problem directly, you will become damn it, your father will be unhappy. Grandma Chi-san's words of advice always hit the mark. By the way, how is your second uncle doing now? Chi Shuliang asked. He knew from Huo Yingjun that his second uncle had been taking care of his mother all these years. Your second uncle is in good health. It's just that he's missing an arm, so it's inconvenient to do anything, Grandma Chi-san said. Fortunately, there are always people there is no shortage of people, who can take care of him. When he can no longer take care of himself. Shuliang, you must be filial to your second uncle. Without your second uncle's help, both openly and secretly, I wouldn't be able to live a comfortable life, and I might have passed away early. I will, Mother Chi Shuliang said, chatting with his mother about the situation in Kijia village while walking. He Tian and Chi Zhenmin in the back were talking and chatting together. Chi Zhengan, who was in a bad mood, listened without speaking. They didn't come back until Anna came over and asked everyone to eat together. The dinner was very sumptuous. The cook at home was very good at making Jiangsu cuisine, pine mandarin fish, colorful fish clips, spring bamboo shoots and bacon jerky, lion head, cold lotus root slices, vegetarian stir-fried cabbage hearts, etc. It is very rare to prepare such a large table in one afternoon. There are also some Western food, you can choose whatever you like. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 352. 450. When Westerners eat, they also have a habit of sharing their food. All the dishes on the table are served in portions. Whatever you want to eat, the servant next to you will pick it out and put it on the plate in front of you. When you're done eating, pick up another one. When Grandma Chi-san was a child, she remembered that it was like this when there were maids to serve her at home. It was not surprising. Eat without talking, sleep without talking. Grandma Chi-san didn't say anything when she saw other people. She also didn't say anything. She ate seriously and enjoyed the happiness and satisfaction brought by the food. Ouch, it tastes so good. I haven't eaten such delicious food in many years. This time when she comes to country M, she will eat everything she wants and try delicious food she has never tasted before. Oops, you can't even eat this dish in China. This time I followed Grandma Chi-san here, which was a real treat. After dinner, Grandma Chi-san patted Anna's hand and said, "Thank you, Anna, I like this dinner very much." Hearing Grandma Chi-san's compliment, Anna beamed. This was her affirmation and said, "Mom, it's my honor that you like it." Country H has the habit of drinking tea after dinner. If there is tea at home, I will give it to you. Make tea. Grandma Chi-san smiled and said, "Anna, you can rest for a while. I brought hawthorn and jujube that I collected at home, soaked them in hot water, and put some honey in them, which helps digestion and is very good. I invite try it." He Tian smiled and said, I'll get it right now. He Tian knew that Grandma Chi-san usually had the habit of drinking chrysanthemum and wolfberry tea, and also liked to drink hawthorn and jujube honey water after meals, so she brought some when she came. On the way, Grandma Chi-san praised He Tian for his thoughtfulness. He Tian went to the house, took some hawthorn and wild dates, washed them in hot water, and then poured boiling water to soak them. After a while, the sour smell came, and the hot air had a sweet and sour taste. He Tian put a little honey in the quilt and took out a cup for each person. Qi Shuliang couldn't wait to bring a glass, took a sip, and tasted the taste carefully. I haven't tasted something like this in how many years? Try it, Anna. If you don't like it, don't drink it. It's okay. Don't force it. Grandma Chi-san smiled, worried that her daughter-in-law wouldn't like it, but she was embarrassed to say it. Anna took a sip, tasted it and said, it's sour and sweet, like juice, and it tastes good. Tony once said he liked to drink hawthorn water. I bought some for him to drink, but he said it didn't taste like that. Yes, the taste is indeed different, Qi Shuliang insisted. It was the taste of his hometown. Anna nodded, even though she thought in her heart, it actually tasted the same, there was no difference. But then I thought about it, my husband has always missed his hometown, maybe this lacks the taste of hometown. After drinking some hawthorn water, Grandma Chi-san stood up and said, Shuliang, I want to go for a walk with you. Okay, I'll accompany you. Qi Shuliang agreed and stepped forward to support his mother. Mom, wait a minute, I'll get you a coat to put on. It's a bit cold outside at night. Anna thought very thoughtfully and quickly went upstairs, took a mid-length coat and put it on. Grandma Chi-san, let's go, be back soon, it's cold outside. After speaking, Anna hugged Grandma Chi-san. Grandma Chi-san rarely got so close to others. She was just slightly stunned, accepted Anna's hug, hugged Anna with her backhand, and patted Anna's slender back gently. So fine. Qi Shuliang helped his mother out for a walk, while Anna asked Qi Zhengan and Qi Zhenmin to chat with He Tian. No, I want to go up and rest. You have been with me all day today, so it's time for you to have a good rest, He Tian said, not wanting to trouble them too much. Furthermore, we had just met, so those pleasantries had already been said, and there was not much left to say. Let's talk about it later when we become familiar with it. He Tian returned to the room, took a bath, put on her pajamas, took a book, and lay on the bed to read. Soft lighting, clean and tidy room, like a dream. About an hour later, He Tian heard Grandma Chi-san's voice and came over to help take care of Grandma Chi-san and help her sleep. Just as He Tian was about to leave, Grandma Chi-san stopped him and said, Tian, don't leave. What's wrong, Grandma? He Tian sat on the bedside with a smile. What do you want to tell me? When I first came here, I inevitably neglected you. Don't think too much about it. You are just like my granddaughter. Really, I am telling the truth. I will never forget the time when I was the most helpless and the most miserable. When there is no hope, you are by my side, Grandma Chi-san said. Qi Zhenmin is her granddaughter, and she can love her instinctively. However, she recognized He Tian's granddaughter and had a deep affection for her. She didn't want He Tian to misunderstand her. Grandma, don't worry, He Tian persuaded, I know everything. I am very happy that you can reunite with your relatives and I will not be disappointed. Seeing that He Tian didn't seem to be faking it, Grandma Chi-san was slightly relieved. That's good, Grandma Chi-san agreed. By the way, Tian, I asked Shuliang if you want to go to school here, he will arrange it for you. Grandma Chi-san always felt that it was a pity that He Tian did not go to school and worked in the countryside. He Tian shook her head and said, although I want to go to school, I prefer to be with my parents. As you know, it's such a mess now, and my parents are such simple people. I don't feel relieved if I'm not around. If you don't go to school, you can study by yourself, but if you lose your loved ones, they will never come back. This is He Tianation's innermost thoughts. When she was reborn, she just wanted her parents to be safe and her family to live a safe life. As for the rest, we would talk about it later. Anyway, in the future, the college entrance examination will be resumed in China, so she can just go to school again. Hey, it's up to you. I think it's a pity that a good girl like you doesn't study, Grandma Chi-san said with emotion. It's a pity, family is the most important thing, He Tian said. By the way, Grandma, are you ready to stay here? Grandma Chi-san looked around, thought for a while, and said, no, you stay here with me for a while, and then we will go back together. I have lived in Kijia village for so long, and that is my root. I can't not going back. Returning fallen leaves to their roots is the simplest thought of the older generation. Okay, I'll stay here with you for a while. If you change your mind, you can tell me, He Tian said. It's getting late, so go to bed early. Okay, you've worked hard too, go to bed early. Grandma Chi-san nodded and watched He Tian leave. This child is so sensible that it makes people feel distressed. In fact, when she asked those questions, Grandma Chi-san knew that He Tian would not stay. She has a son, a grandson, and a granddaughter here, but she is unwilling to stay, let alone He Tian whose relatives are in China.